My husband and I were in Hawaii, enjoying a trip gifted by our daughter. Amid the fun, we accidentally ran into my ex-fiancé, a doctor, and the mom friend who had snatched him away. They looked down on us, hurling insults.
"Don't you know who I am?"
He sneered, calling us poor. Just as I was about to retort, my husband Trevor stepped in.
"And do you know who I am?"
Mike was taken aback. Trevor's words were about to turn their lives into a nightmare. I'm Ingrid, 49 years old, living with my husband Trevor. Our daughter Naomi is all grown up, busy with work and her boyfriend, but she still comes home sometimes to share stories with us. We're happy to see her leading a fulfilling life. However, she's not Trevor's biological child. Her real father passed away from illness when she was 4, leaving us devastated. It took us a long time to recover, but we eventually found happiness again, though it would be marred by betrayal. 19 years ago. My husband? Suddenly, Sean collapsed and had to be rushed to the hospital, never to return. I couldn't accept this reality at first, barely managing to take care of Naomi, let alone work. My mother, concerned, said, "Let's go to the hospital, Ingrid." So I visited a psychiatrist.
"You've been through a lot."
Dr. Mike, the psychiatrist, genuinely cared for me. He and his father ran the clinic together, always busy due to their 2-person operation. Despite this, he took special care of Naomi, who had suddenly lost her father, and encouraged us to visit together. Overwhelmed by my own issues, I hadn't noticed Naomi's suffering. I'm a terrible mother. She'd be better off without me, I confessed to Dr. Mike.
"It's understandable to feel lost after losing a partner so suddenly."
He reassured me without any judgment.
"Please, come in anytime you need. If it's hard to come to the clinic, just call me,"
he said, handing me his business card with his number on it. I hesitated to call, not wanting to impose, but in a moment of desperation, I did reach out to him. He listened to me cry without interrupting, offering advice and words of encouragement. After receiving various pieces of advice and words of encouragement, I felt a huge relief. As I was about to hang up,
"Oh, and if you want, we can text each other."
We became close enough to exchange texts. Thanks to this, I gradually regained my spirits. I started having days where I didn't dwell on my late husband, allowing me to finally work again. Dr. Mike, thank you. It's all because of you. I sent him a message of gratitude. Then,
If it's okay with you, I'd like to support you in your personal life as well."
What? I couldn't believe he had feelings for me.
"I know you're a widow and grieving, but to be honest, I fell in love with you at first sight. I truly care about you, Ingrid. I'll never leave you. Would you consider dating me?"
His sudden confession took me by surprise. Not that I hadn't noticed his interest, but why would someone as handsome and brand conscious as him like a single mother like me? Yet he insisted.
"Ingrid, you're the only one for me. I can't think of anyone else."
His words touched me deeply, and knowing how much he meant to my daughter, I agreed to date him. I'd be happy to. But in hindsight, pursuing a patient like me, especially given his penchant for luxury, should have been a red flag. A year later, Mike proposed, saying,
"I want to support you and Naomi for the rest of my life."
After discussing it with Naomi, Mike and I happily got engaged. He truly cherished Naomi, even spending weekends at the park with her. We saw Amy at the park again today. Amy's mom and Mike were talking non-stop, she mentioned. I trusted Mike completely, grateful for his involvement in our lives even before marriage. Hey Mike, thanks for even doing the mom-friend thing before we're married. I thanked him, to which he simply smiled and said,
"That's normal once we're married. It's the least I can do."
Showing his generous heart. Then one day, Naomi said. Mom, Amy told me her dad is going to be Mike. He'll be so busy being a dad to both of us.
What?
I was momentarily stunned, but figured it was just child's talk. He loved children and was popular among them, so perhaps Amy just liked Mike enough to say that. I didn't dwell on it much, but that night, Mike said,
Sorry, but I want to call off our engagement.
He suddenly wanted to break up. Confused, I asked for a reason.
Actually, there's someone else I've fallen for.
Naomi's words came back to me. Don't tell me it's April, Amy's mom? Watching him get flustered, I figured he was planning on leaving us without telling us about April. But April is married, yet he goes after her? You're leaving us for a married woman, April, betraying us for her? That's despicable! I confronted him, fighting back tears.
Shut up,
he retorted. What did you say?
I said shut up!
I was shocked by his transformation. Fortunately, Naomi was at my parents' house then.
April is prettier than you, and we're more compatible physically. You've been rejecting me lately because of Naomi.
Was that his reason for choosing April? Who initiated it? If it was him, that's just absurd. Even if she made the first move, it's questionable. We were engaged and she had a husband. As I was still in shock, he continued with unsolicited, cruel comments.
The only reason I approached you was because I was turned on by the idea of a grieving widow. You were my type, despite your poor fashion sense and hair. But a widow plus your looks really hit the spot for me. I wanted to mess you up.
What a jerk. He never truly loved me.
I continued treating you because I didn't want another doctor taking you away. It was a miscalculation that you actually got better though. Well, I guess that's thanks to my skills as a doctor. I should have made you sicker.
What was he talking about? I was dumbfounded. Listening to his insults, I quickly lost all respect for him. Enough! Let's break up! Of course you'll be paying a compensation for breaking off the engagement. He seemed surprised by my demand for compensation, but he must have really wanted to be with April.
Well, I'm a doctor. I have plenty of money. I'll give you some change. You look terrible. Used my money for a beauty salon visit. But I guess that's hard now that you're going to be a single mother again.
Thus, I ended things with despicable Mike and demanded compensation from April as well. Being a single mother must be tough financially. Fine, I can help you by giving you this much. In exchange, I'll take Mike without any hesitation. Bye, you money-grubbing poor thing. I was never close with her, but I didn't expect her to be this vile. They truly deserved each other. Maybe it was for the best that she took him. 2 months later, they were gone from town, though not far due to the clinic. Amy's custody remained with April's husband, but raising her alone proved difficult, so he moved back to his parents' house. Naomi cried her heart out. Don't leave me, Mike! Seeing my daughter cry hurt more than losing him to April. I wished misery upon them like never before. Yet, after all that, at 49, I'm genuinely happy. I thought I was done with men, but fate brought me a wonderful new husband. Not a terrible man like Mike, but someone who truly cherishes me and Naomi. His name is Trevor, 53. Despite his busy work life, he always makes time for our family. Now that Naomi is independent, it's just the two of us, living like newlyweds again. One day, Naomi said, "Here, this is for you guys," handing us tickets to Hawaii because she had gotten a bonus. She had also booked the hotel for us. But honey, this is too much. Aren't you coming with us? I asked. It's a token of my appreciation for raising me, so I want you two to go and enjoy yourselves, she replied. We took advantage of her kindness and decided to take the trip together. Our first trip to Hawaii as a couple was incredibly fun. After a day of sightseeing, we returned to our hotel, exhausted.
Is that you, Ingrid?
A familiar voice called out. I turned toward the voice.
Oh, Mike? And April?
There they were, the two who had betrayed me, also in Hawaii, at the same hotel as us.
Who's that guy?
Mike asked, pointing at Trevor. My husband, I replied, only for both of them to burst into laughter.
You're remarried? And your new man? He looks, how do I put this? Poor.
They insulted my husband out of the blue. True, Trevor doesn't care much about his appearance and seldom wears brand name clothes.
Excuse me, but what brand are you wearing?
Mike asked, clearly looking down on us.
This is from a chain store called XX.
My husband responded, mentioning a popular retail chain, which made them scoff.
Seriously? You shop there? You must be poorer than I thought. Unbelievable.
Isn't that the place where only really poor people shop? April added, laughing mockingly at us. Their attitude was so shocking, I was speechless.
You seem to be struggling for money, and yet you're here in Hawaii?
Mike questioned.
Actually, this trip was a gift from our daughter.
Trevor replied with a smile, a mature response.
Wow, Naomi. She's doing that well now, huh? But to mooch a trip to Hawaii off your own child? Pathetic. If you're gonna mooch, at least ask for clothes.
Right? And Ingrid remarried and yet still living a life of poverty. Isn't that just sad? You're the bottom of the barrel. I was outraged by their rudeness. As I was about to retort, Trevor cut in.
Excuse me, but my wife is far from the bottom. It's quite something to insult me upon our first meeting, but insulting my wife is unforgivable.
He stood up for me.
Look at you, trying to act cool. You're just a poor guy. Do you even know who I am? I'm a doctor.
Mike boasted, laughing.
Oh, a doctor.
My husband replied calmly.
That's right. I'm the sole heir to the XXX clinic. I'll be the head doctor soon. Impressive, right?
He bragged.
Doctors are rich and can choose any woman they want. We're in a different league from you poor folks.
He continued. He was unbearable to listen to. Yet April was smirking, agreeing with him.
You've been calling me poor, but do you know who I am?
My husband asked, fed up with Mike's arrogance.
Just some poor guy.
Mike's favorite word seemed to be poor, which was annoying. Trevor then revealed.
I consider myself quite well off. I run a pharmaceutical company. You do?
Indeed, Trevor is the president of a large pharmaceutical company passed down from his grandfather and father. And his company even supplies to Mike's clinic. Shocked, Mike exclaimed.
No way! You're the president of the company my clinic favors?
Seeing his reaction, April became nervous.
Thank you for your patronage,
Trevor said graciously, making me fall for him all over again. Just a pharmaceutical company president? If we, the doctors, stop using your drugs, it's over for you. Hey, honey, just stop dealing with this company's drugs from now on. She interjected unnecessarily.
It's not my call. It's up to my father and the pharmacist, not something I can interfere with.
Mike admitted, his face turning pale. Wait, did we just screw up big time? She asked, and he nodded.
Yes, I've had a long-standing relationship with your father, including golf and drinks. Now we're more friends than business partners.
Trevor added, causing Mike to apologize loudly out of place.
I am terribly sorry. Please, don't tell my father, the head doctor.
He pleaded. As he babbled, April was in a daze.
Well, sorry. I recorded the moment you insulted my wife. You did what?
It turned out Trevor had started recording on his phone, sensing the tense atmosphere.
I truly am sorry for insulting you and calling you poor.
Mike desperately apologized.
My wife has told me before how her ex-fiancé was a scumbag, the worst kind. And you ended up with my daughter's classmate's mother. How much more do you plan to insult my wife? Enough is enough.
Trevor confronted Mike fiercely, causing him to fall on his knees. The two were utterly deflated. I intended to protect my husband, but instead, he protected me, which made me very happy. Then, seeing Trevor's actions, I unleashed my anger on them. You know, April, I've always thought that a cheater like you, who snatches other women's fiancés so easily, deserves someone like Mike. You're both despicable. So thank you for taking such a terrible man off my hands. They likely never expected me to say something like that. They looked as if they had been shot with a cannon. I continued, laying into them. What kind of audacity is this? Insulting someone you've only just met on vacation and claiming my husband is broke or something? How old are you both? Seriously? Are you right in the head? To anyone else, it's obvious you two have lost your marbles. They seemed taken aback by my words.
No, we were just drunk and surprised to see you after so long. And you looked happy, so we just,
This nonsense was completely unacceptable.
So being drunk makes it okay to do anything? And what's with the you looked happy so part? It's sad that you can't genuinely wish happiness for others.
Trevor sharply retorted. We probably won't ever meet again, but don't ever make such low remarks again. I said, throwing our final words before we left the scene.
I'm truly sorry.
They kept apologizing repeatedly. Enraged, Trevor sent the audio recording to Mike's father. When he immediately called back, Trevor explained the situation to him, who, as expected, was furious. Having met Mike's father before, it was easy for me to imagine the storm Mike was about to face. He apologized to us and said he would call his son before hanging up. It must have been the worst trip to Hawaii for Mike and April, all because they decided to mess with us. Days later, to our surprise, Mike, April, and Mike's father showed up at our house. Dressed formally, both Mike and April had noticeably red faces.
We're deeply sorry.
They apologized, offering a significant sum of money for the trouble they caused, which we initially refused. However, they insisted, so we accepted. They left shortly after. From what I heard through Trevor from Mike's father, it seems Mike and April ended up divorcing.
This is what happens when you marry a woman who easily abandons her child.
Mike's father had pressured them to divorce, apparently disapproving of their marriage from the start. Furthermore, Mike was supposed to take over the clinic from his father soon, but the plan was canceled, and he faced a pay cut. As for April's whereabouts, we didn't know, but rumors circulated she was seen working for a cougar escort service, looking quite worn out. Who would have thought it would end this way for a man who left his daughter and wife behind to run away with the mother of his daughter's classmate? But I thought it was nothing but karma. After all that incident, Trevor and I felt bad, but a good night's sleep rejuvenated us and we savored the remainder of our trip in Hawaii. When we told Naomi about our experience, she laughed. That serves as a perfect example of the type of adults to avoid becoming. It's a good thing you walked away from such a loser, Mom. Indeed, I believed it was in her best interest for us to part ways. Now we're excitedly planning a trip for the three of us, looking forward to our next joyful family holiday.